And that's I feel like women, we are so, and I hate using the term desperate, but we are so desperate to get married, and we have to go back to like the Disney days, watching Cinderella, watching Little Mermaid. That's all that was put on our mind this entire time growing up. I was 14, 15 thinking about marriage. Actually, I was 10 thinking about marriage, you know?
That's crazy,
And I had to get out of that. I had to get out of that right now. Like, for me
and
to kind of...
social media doesn't help that either.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't, but... I don't, like, at this point, I don't even care about social media.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Like, people ask me all the time, oh, when you gonna get married? When you gonna get married? I'm like, that's just not...
When I'm good.
When I'm ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, at this point, I'm just enjoying my relationship, enjoying my life with the person that I'm with right now. When that happens, it happens. You know, I'm just not pressed.
How did you break out of that mindset of being so focused on marriage?
Just really think about what I really want as a person, you know,
and not what society tells you should be doing by this age.
Exactly, and not following timelines. Like, people's like, oh, you don't want kids, or you want kids, and you're 33 years old, and I'm just like, I have kids. I know people having kids when they're 50. I don't want kids when I'm 50, but if that was the case, if I want to, I probably can do it at that age, you know. So I just think just breaking out timelines, basically. Yeah.
I think, like, I actually did not used to think about marriage a lot. When I was in the world, when I was kind of dating, like, how, like, the world was dating, I actually did not... When you knew me back then, I never really talked about marriage that much.
No.
I was not, like, a married... I couldn't even really
not
see
at
myself
all.
getting married, none of that stuff. It was only when I became a person of faith that I realized the value and the importance of marriage, and also knowing certain things in my faith, which I agree with, that can only be shared within the context of marriage. You know, I'm no virgin, but I do believe in waiting until marriage. And once I learned and understood why, I became celibate, and I am waiting to share that area of my life with somebody. You know what I mean? So waiting until until marriage to have sex, and then also, like, just knowing that the sole purpose of dating, I don't care what anybody says, is to get married. Anything other than that, you're trying somebody on for a period of time, building all these ties with them just for it to not eventually work. And I'm like, why do that? Well, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like it's a waste of effort. I know how much I'm willing to pour into somebody, and I want it to be with intention. I want it to be with purpose, and I want to reap a harvest. I don't want to do it for no reason.
But I think that's for you.
Yeah, for me.
I think
No,
it's important
I'm
to speak
talking
for
about,
yourself,
like,
because
me.
I think
personally.
today
I think what-
marriages
also-
aren't traditional anymore. A lot of people not wanting to get married anymore. You know, some people want long-term relationships. Some people want lifelong partnerships. You know, so some people are not in relationships to get married. You know, that's not their end goal. You know,
I think people give up on marriage because they don't think they can be their portion. I feel like
marriage put too much pressure on people.
It does put a lot of pressure on people, but I also feel like a lot of women give up because it's too hard to wait.
Though.
It's not just a label.
It's a no.
When it's coming from, like, a background of faith, it's not just a label.
It's
marriage
like a
is a
legal
holy institution that God created, and created in a way for us to enjoy one another. People act like they're married and do marriage things, and they're not. And God never intended for us to do those things outside of marriage. The way we do relationships, it's like we're married.
That is true.
But you're not married. And so my whole thing is, I do want to be married so that I can enjoy my relationship in a way that's respectful to God. You know, and it's not just me who personally feels that way. This is what our faith dictates. And I know God is real. I've seen God work in my life. I've seen him be true in other areas. I'm not going to look at this thing and be like, I don't agree.
Yeah.
Because I do. And it's not just me personally. This is what our faith dictates. So,
But I feel what I was trying to say was, in a sense, I'm saying it's just a label because what you're already doing before the marriage is what it's going to be, in a sense. And I feel like a lot of people want marriage just for the limelight of it, but not understanding that things are not necessarily going to change. That's what I mean by label.
they're not going to change because you're already doing the things that you're supposed to wait until marriage to do.
Ooh.
You're already pretending to be somebody's wife and you're not. So they're not going to change because you're already doing those wifely roles. Things
But
change.
when you feel about people who don't believe in God, who have
somebody-
successful marriages.
But when you're
'Cause I know
dating
plenty.
somebody,
It happens.
But listen,
So
when you're
what?
It happens.
Yeah.
But when you're
it
dating
can't.
someone, though, you're whether you like it or not, if you become in a committed relationship, you will somewhat start behaving or having some aspects of a marriage in it, in a sense. And that's not wrong because that's going to follow through once you guys are married.
You're allowed to love each other.
Yeah.
But there are some things that got
Human
set
sex.
aside for marriage.
So
And even like
what?
shacking up in sex. Right?
living together
Okay.
having sex with each other, you playing wifely roles of either paying their bills, cooking for them, taking care of their children. That's wifely duties. There's a difference
So you
between.
have to wait until.
See, I don't.
Yes.
But then what if that person
I don't
doesn't know
agree
your
with that.
personality through those certain things that you're talking about?
That's when you-
if you're naturally just a good-hearted person and you do certain things, you know what I mean?
You don't have
You
to
can't
be
help
one
it.
dude.
It's not because you're no.
Okay, let's not
I
do
just
that.
naturally like to
No,
pay
no,
their
no,
bills. But what if
That's
you're
not natural, boo.
No.
Work on you.
No,
So is that what you're saying?
no, that's not what I'm saying. But hey, if somebody is in a trouble and they've never been in any type of trouble and you want to help that person out,
Of
there's
course, I'm
nothing
not
wrong with
saying
that.
don't be
But I'm
generous.
saying, I'm even forgetting what I want to say. You're both.
Oh, sorry.
You got
You're
fire
talking
and
to me.
desire on both sides. Just, no.
What were we
It's
talking
good.
about?
It's
It just
good.
went.
Just talking about.
See, even you forgot.
We were just talking about. No, you had just asked a really good question. She had said, there's people who don't believe in God and still go on and have healthy marriages.
Yeah.
It's true. It's not like there's a scripture that's like it rains on the just and unjust. God is not going to keep you from getting married because you don't love Him or because you don't believe in Him. He's just. He's kind. He's going to be generous to you. At the end of the day, there's people who have children who don't believe in God and have healthy marriages. But the whole thing is, it's like, will your relationship give glory to God? No, it won't. And did He bring it together? No, He didn't. And the scripture says, what God brings together, let no man tear apart. That's why the divorce rate is as high as it is.
But how
Because
about
there's
all these
certain things.
pastors and stuff getting divorced?
That's just people. Pastors get divorced
They're
too.
humans.
And there's pastors who get married without even consulting God about, is this the person I'm supposed to be with? Just because you're a pastor does not mean that you're a man of God. There's plenty of people who can get on stage and recite the Bible.
I think religion put too much pressure on people to be perfect, and we are not being honest with themselves. And I feel like that's where I was when I was Christian. I was living a life that I wasn't. I was aiming to be so perfect. I couldn't, like I had feelings. I saved sex until a long time, and I mean I had those desires. So what I'm supposed to do? Let my desires go and just yeah. I disagree with it honestly, 100%. But I respect you, but that's not my outlook on, the way you say it's not my outlook on marriage. I don't think, I think as long as you have a common ground, which whether it's Christianity or whatever is your common ground in your relationship, it would work. I don't feel like I have to pray or anything to make my relationship better. I'm in a relationship right now with a guy who doesn't believe in God. Yeah. And honestly, that's what I don't pray, but I actually hoped that I find somebody who's like me. And I got that, and it's been amazing. It's been the best relationship,
That
even
you
with,
ever
that I've ever been in. It's been the most
a
healthiest
friendship.
relationship I've ever been in. And keep in mind, I was very religious growing up until around, I would say 25, 26 is kind of when I kind of branched out. And my first relationship, we were together for 8 years, and we were both heavily into the church. And it was just his desires and my desires. We were being so fake. And I had to live my truth, And I feel like now I'm living my truth. And since I let go of Christianity and all that, I feel like I'm living my truth. I'm the most happiest and the most realest and the most healthy
your son.
Desi that I have ever been in my life. And I'm still a great person, have amazing morals. I don't cheat, lie. Still follow the 10 Commandments, although I don't look at it in the Bible and say, okay, I'm following God's word. It's just, that's just the person I am, but yeah, I'm just more happier not being religious, or even reading the Bible or anything like that, or having a timeline or following people's way of telling me I have to live. Like doing my own thing has been the best thing that's ever happened to me in my career, in my life, and relationships. Since I let go of like what I'm supposed to be doing, what people tell me I'm supposed to be doing, I've been the most happiest, and my relationships have been healthier. I lost so much weight. I look good.
Yes.
No, but serious. I let go of a lot of. I was so stressed trying to be perfect when I was Christian. I was so stressed.
Was it because you were trying to be Christian or because you were trying to satisfy that relationship?
I was trying to be Christian. I was raised I was in church all my life, my entire life.
Wow.
And looking back, I never really believed. I always, even as a kid, I used to question the Bible, and what people used to tell me is, "Why are you questioning God? Don't question God. Don't question God." But I'm like,
I might look
what
crazy
do you
for
mean?
this, but for me, I feel like it was kind of the opposite. My mom was a reverend, and my uncles were pastors. My aunties were pastors. When I say uncle, aunties, my mom's sisters were all reverends.
Yeah.
My dad's brother was a pastor,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But when I was younger, I mean, it helped that they were saying those things, so it started being ingrained in my head in a sense.
Right.
But certain life experiences made me get closer to God in a sense. There are certain things that happened that I cannot even explain. Like, I'm still even like, did I really see that? Did that really happen?
Yeah.
And I have told you that experience. I went to a church. I sound crazy, but I don't care. I'm going to talk, speak my truth or whatever. And I saw heaven. You know, I saw God. And I was wide awake. I was having a vision. And I said, wow. And I used to have questions like, well, is there really a God? Or is there, you know, maybe it's, I went to like a Buddhist temple. I was checking out different stuff. I didn't want to go to a mosque. Even though I still want to go to a mosque, you know, I want to go to different places. I want to see different religions and stuff, how people worship. But I was so much in question, like, is there really God? Or maybe when we die, what's going to happen? But after I had that experience, I said, oh, it's not a question anymore. This is reality, you know? And so now I even speak about it when I see people. I'm like, but everybody has their own experiences. Everybody has their own truth. So I understand where you're coming from.
And I feel like everyone gets their motivation from somewhere, and I feel like as long as you're happy and healthy, and that's why I say I respect Christian people, I respect atheist people, I respect agnostic people. Wherever you get that motivation and that drive, and what drives you and what feeds you, then go for it. And that's why I say all my friends are Christian. You know, I think I'm the only one that's like kind of off, and I'm okay with that.
It's amazing when people live in their own truth. If you don't live in your own truth,
exactly. And if Christianity and God is your truth, go for it and be the best person that you can in that. You know, and I feel like that's what I did for myself. You know, but as far as we can still be friends, you know. It's still no hard feelings. You know, like
of course.
Yeah, all my closest friends are Christian, you know, and we still have an amazing friendship, and you know, there's no bad blood. We don't bash each other.
Well, my question is, with that being said, how do you keep your mental health and state, you know, in order in a sense? Because for me, when I think of mental health, I think of the physical aspect, the spiritual aspect, and the mental aspect of things. So what is your spiritual aspect? Is there like no spiritual aspect, or what do you do to keep yourself sane, balanced?
Myself. It's just me.
What is myself?
Like I really like, I talk to myself, and first of all, I'm very self-aware. You know, so when I know Desi's not doing what she needs to do, I will call myself. I'm never gonna lie to myself. If I know I'm feeling this way, I'm gonna say I'm feeling this way. You know, so I think that's really grounds me is myself. You know, and that I'm very honest with myself, and I'm always seeking out for help. Like I read a lot of books. I'm always reading something about self-help, and always reading. Okay, how could I be? How could I better myself? You know, and that's why I've got through life, and I don't feel like I need to
be anything else.
I don't feel like I have to go to somebody and pray, and you know, I'm a very positive person.
That was that one.
I'm a very positive person, so that's my prayer, being that positive person that I am, and you know, speaking positive into my life. I don't speak negative. I never say I can't do this. I never talk about, oh, I'm gonna be broke. You would never hear those words come out my mouth. I'm broke, because you're speaking that.
You don't say that.
So
you shall have what you say.
Exactly. I don't speak those words out my mouth. You know, I don't talk about bad people.
For you coming.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, oh, she's probably gonna cancel last minute.
No.
That's what I was like, she's gonna be here in Jesus' name. I was like, okay, I called you. I was like, are you coming? I cooked some food. She was like, tell her you brought food.
No,
we have
I was
food.
gonna come.
Okay, I'm coming.
No, I wasn't gonna cancel. But when you wouldn't answer the phone, I'm like, okay, should I?
Yeah, right. My phone died.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was like, no, please.
Yeah, I was still gonna come. Yeah, but yeah.
The funny thing is, I was making facial expressions because, like, the question I got was, how does mental health affect relationships?
And I feel like we should.
Yeah, that's what we've been talking about. That's
we just answered it.
This one you gave me, I think it says we're gonna talk about being raised in a dysfunctional household causes you to have horrible romantic relationships.
Yes.
I agree.
Because that's all you know.
Yeah, that's all you know. You don't. That's the kind of love you know. You know.
I see it as. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No.
I see it as like trying to asking somebody to draw you a tree that's never seen a tree for the first time.
Right.
They're gonna draw you their own version of tree, because that's what a tree looks like to them.
Right.
It's like trying to build a healthy relationship when you've never seen one.
Right.
You know, it's like, this is what I know, so this is what I know how to recreate.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know that's been true in my life, where it's like I've never seen a long-term healthy relationship between a man and a woman. I've seen pieces of it, and a little bit here, a little bit there, a good part here, but not for a long amount of time. So I think I've been able to piece together what a healthy relationship looks like, and then with my faith, really getting like a full view on what a healthy relationship should or can look like to me, and like going from there. But it's like trying to, you know, build one when you haven't seen it is very, very difficult. And I feel like a lot of people are working with those same tools, where they're literally starting with like just one parent, you know, and then trying to figure out how to interact with opposite sex. And even if the dad was there, maybe they were absent, or just trying to rebuild something and recreate something that they did not have. And it's hard.
That is true. It is hard. But at the same time, with it being hard, I think over time as you grow up, when you see different people and their interactions and relationships, you get a better idea of what is healthy and what is not. For some people, I think it depends on the individual as well, because there are some people, yes, you grew up, you know, you had a rough childhood, maybe a parent wasn't in the household, or the parent wasn't doing what they were supposed to do, but over time you're gonna say, okay, well, these are the tools I had, what can I do differently to make my life better? But then there are some people who are like, oh, my life was horrible, it sucked,
Yeah, some people use
this
that as a
happened, they just
crutch.
wallow in it,
Yeah.
or, you know, that's how I grew up,
I
that's
beat
just
my
how it
girlfriends
is.
because my dad beat my mom. It's like,
Yeah.
what, are you seeking help for that though?
Yeah.
Like,
It's not-
it's
yeah.
not okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It may be
It's important for you.
justifiable, but it does not make it okay. You know what I mean? It's like you may not have had the tools to build a healthy relationship, but there's books, there's
Therapy.
faith, there's therapy. You need to do your work. You know what I mean? It's like, just because I haven't seen a definition of a healthy marriage in front of me, I fully believe I'm capable of having one. You know, with the help of, this is the part that I've forgotten, I surround myself with people that are in healthy relationships.
Yeah.
I go and see how it's done. You know what I mean? And surround myself with not people who always complain about their boyfriends, but people who praise their boyfriends. You know what I mean? And people who have healthy marriages. And when I meet people that have been married a long time, I ask them questions. I'm inquisitive, you know, I want to know, because it's like I'm preparing for that. You know, I'm heading into something that I have not seen done well, and I want to make sure that I can do it well.
And I feel like this is relatable to the Black community in a sense, because I feel like a lot of the times in the households, the men are usually not there.
they're not
You know, and it's like,
Not
or if
present,
the
yeah.
mom is present, sometimes they're working so much that they're not there, or
Yeah.
even if they're not working so much, they have their own mental health problems.
Or they're
going on.
abusive,
They're
really
doing
taking out their
drugs or
frustrations,
whatever.
like, on
yeah,
the
because
kids.
the dad is not there or whatnot, or they're drugging themselves up to cope with having so many kids. and having to
Some
deal with them.
African American
Some.
families.
Yes.
There's a large
Correction.
majority of
Correction.
healthy,
Yes.
even if single
Yes.
parent, it's ideal to have two, but if you don't, whatever,
Yes.
healthy
Some. You're
Black
right.
homes.
You're right.
But because of things throughout history, through the systematic, you know, breaking down of the Black family during slavery, and continuing on through welfare, where they systematically, you get incentivized to not have a Black man in your home,
Right.
through them
Yes.
being incarcerated, through same-sex relationships being pushed into the Black American community the way that it is. It's like the Black man is not as prevalent in the home as we would like to see, in a way that's
Society does
healthy.
have a huge part
Yeah.
to play into that.
It does. You
The
know,
system
it's
does.
not by accident. It's by design.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And so knowing that there's mental health things that result from that, from us being in school, we know that you do better in a two-parent household.
Yeah.
You just do.
A healthy
A healthy
two-parent
two-parent
Yes.
household.
Yes.
You
You know,
want
because
to add that in
if
there.
your dad's there and beating on you, doesn't really count. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? But a healthy two-parent household, two people that are healthy can raise a healthier child versus one healthy person.
Right.
Statistics show that. You know what I mean? So that will affect your mental health in a way, especially when you may have an absentee
And when you're
parent
used
that's
to
not
seeing
there.
certain things too.
And I think we should, yes, we're talking about the African American home, but what about African homes where the
Oh,
father
yes.
is in the picture, but he may be back home in a different country working and sending y'all money, so his
That's
money is
Haitian
there.
households too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the money is there, your dad's providing, but physically he's not
not
there.
there.
And maybe you may be sitting around listening to your aunties talk to your mom about how he may be cheating back home with sister so and so. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you had your dad in your life, but he wasn't really there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel like
Exactly.
that's what more we deal with in our within the Haitian, African American, maybe even Jamaican communities, where it's like it's not so much that they're not present. I mean that they're not there.
They're physically.
They're just not
They're
present in the home and may not even interact with your mom in a way that's healthy.
Loving.
So what can be
Loving
done
and
differently?
kind.
So how can we change that in a sense? How can we do that differently now?
By us
our
doing
generation.
it better. By us as African women rewriting the narrative of what it is to be in a loving marriage. And I think we do that well because we're first generation Africans. There's just some things we're not going to deal with that our moms dealt with.
Right,
First
exactly.
generation Haitians. There's just some things that is not going to fly. You can't do that.
And I think it's important for us, like in the community, in the Black community, to know that therapy is okay. You know,
Yeah.
and there's always a stigma, and you can't.
Yes.
I see this every single day. You know, because working in the healthcare field, they don't agree with therapy. Oh, I don't need therapy. I'm not crazy. You
And
know,
they
it doesn't
need it the
necessarily mean
most.
exactly.
Girl.
That's another subject. But
Tripping.
yeah, but I feel like being self-aware is important because yes, as women we can do certain things, but men need to realize, okay, I have a problem and I need to go get help. You know, so.
But you want to know something? I think society supports a lot of men's toxic behaviors that are
Yes.
unhealthy, and it's
Exactly.
not viewed to them as unhealthy.
Yeah.
Sleeping with multiple women
Yeah.
at a time and not being able to hold together a relationship means that you're not healthy
Right,
mentally. But
right,
society
right.
means you're a man.
Right,
If a
exactly.
woman couldn't do that, they're like, there's something wrong with you.
Right.
But you
You
know
should
what?
seek
I feel
therapy.
like more women are doing that now because they're so
The
used
roles
to
have
what.
switched,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's switched. It's changing a lot more.
And now
it's
everybody
just
needs
in
therapy.
the culture now. So a lot of people who are maybe serious like you, who actually want something decent.
If I hadn't found Jesus when I did, I would be having a ball. I always say like,
But
you
you're
know
still
what?
having a ball.
No, I'm still having a
Yeah.
ball, but I'm like
But she's
having like
talking
a
about a
ratchet
different
ball,
ball.
like city girls, scamming, mimosas, all that, like brunch. After I just scam somebody, Fashion Nova every weekend, and I'm
You're
like,
so funny.
like that type of ball. Like, and then that's not to say like I'm totally being judgmental, but it's like Jesus came in at the time where it's like it became cool to just like be out there, and you know what? I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because if that's what you want to do, I feel like you should have the freedom to do it.
I agree.
Yeah. And I actually do agree with that. Although, even if I don't want to do it, I feel like you should be able to live any way that you want to and have it not affect your quality of life. Like how I used to, like,
not get AIDS.
No, I mean, use protection, but it's like, it shouldn't be like, oh, she has a law degree, but she's a hoe. That's none of your business. She has a law degree, let it stop there. Because when a man's a hoe and he has a law degree, nobody talks about that.
Right.
And that's what I don't like.
So hoism is okay.
Hoe is life. No, I'm joking. Just said it.
Is the camera straight? I think it's crooked.
Girl, it's been like that for so
Exactly.
long. It is just
So we're gonna
going
have
to
a
be
great.
crooked
It is.
video, guys.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
are, because we're some
Editing.
crooked girls.
Oh, you
Wasn't
don't
it?
want to straighten now and then
I think it's okay.
I'm actually probably not going to edit any of this. I don't like editing videos. I'm just going to put it up there like that.
Oh no.
Yeah, because if you're interested, you're going to watch it anyways.
Yeah.
So, whatever. Views on therapy after 6 months of dating. Couples therapy after six
yeah.
months of dating. I thought this was such
I
a
was
great...
about to spit out my
Yeah, I thought this was such a great question because
6 months.
it's nonsense.
6 months.
That's like insuring a pair of shoes
6 months.
that you just wear to the gym only. Like, I don't know. That's the most, like, metaphor. I feel like couples therapy is amazing when you know you guys are in it for the long haul. But I think after 6 months or a year, that's just not enough
Just break
time.
it up.
And I feel like when
It
you
should just
overall,
end.
for the most part, have a healthy relationship,
Right.
like, maybe 80-20 or 90-10.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you can work on, going to therapy. But after 6 months of dating, if it's not working out, I think you can you're safe to call it a quit.
And I feel like after 6 months of dating, that's still work that you guys are doing. After a year or two, I feel like you've done the work that you have done in getting to know each other, and
Right.
anything else you might need outside help for.
Exactly.
You know what I
Right,
mean?
Right.
You can outsource that.
You were next.
I was.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Oh, this is mine. Importance of maintaining self-love in a relationship.
Speak
Oh,
on it.
so important.
So important, and I talked to you guys about that earlier. Being in a relationship now has been the best thing because of my self-love and maintaining who I am, although I'm in a relationship with somebody else. And we have a lot of differences. I still make sure I keep Desi happy and do the things that Desi love to do. Yeah, so I think that's very important in a relationship. You don't want to lose yourself in a relationship.
Right.
And continue to do, as long as it's healthy, continue to do what you like to do, and you can bring them in if you want. Yeah, I could have brought him in here today.
Yeah.
I'm joking. No, I wouldn't.
Get a male perspective on
No,
things.
he doesn't even like talking about relationships.
Oh, God.
That's why he needs to
My
talk
boyfriend's
about
like,
it.
have fun.
I think self-love is very important because at the end of the day, you're stuck with you. You're stuck with your own thoughts, your own being. And if you don't have self-love, then, and you're giving yourself to only one person the whole time, it's going to kill you. You know, it's like you're just going to keep, what is that saying that they say, you can't help someone with your glass half empty or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
Or if your glass is empty, you can't fill someone else's cup.
Yeah.
So you need to take care of your own cup before you can take care of
Let me
someone
see if I can
else's.
find it, but go ahead and keep talking. Let me see if I can find
That's all I wanted to say.
it. Would you?
Oh, you're about to look it up?
Yeah, but go ahead.
How do you feel about that?
I think it's very important to like not lose yourself in dating somebody and still maintaining your own life, because I know in my life I got caught up in a lot in codependency where I'd be doing my own thing, I'd be having so much fun, have all this stuff going on. As soon as I meet a guy, my life would stop. I would stop hanging out with my friends. All of a sudden my whole world is about them and my world feels so small. If I don't hear from them, if I don't see them, like I'm sad, I'm depressed. But before, my life was so full and vibrant, you know, and half of that was because they encouraged me to cut off my life, and the other half is that of me just wanting to be so engrossed with this person that I made myself super available by stopping everything else that I had going on, which actually was to the detriment of my relationship. You know, but because the person, when they meet you, they're attracted to what it is that you have going on. And when you stop doing that and make your world all about them, you, in a way, make them your God.
Interest.
Yeah. And it also pushes them away, and it puts pressure on them to make you happy. And I know that I got a lot into codependency where it's like, fill me, make me happy, love me. When I come to realize it's like, I myself and then other people like don't want to do the hard work of loving themselves, so they outsource that to somebody else. You love me because it's too hard for me to love myself. You make me happy because it's too hard for me to make myself happy. But then when you learn how to love yourself and make yourself happy, anything anybody else brings is just extra. You know, and who doesn't like extra? You know what I mean? So I'm like, that's been really important to me. Learning how to value my own time. I love spending time with myself. I think I'm fun. I enjoy my own company. I'm not in a rush to get out of my own company at all. And I feel like that is good. I'm still working on being able to maintain myself and being in a relationship, because I can admit, I'm like, I can get engrossed in somebody else. But learning a healthy boundary of, I can still have my life, you can still have your life, and together we can create a fun life. You know what I mean? But that takes learning, and these are things that I've had to have more experience with, and time and maturity as well. And so I think by 30 I may have it down.
Oh yes. Desi was just showing me you guys aren't gonna be able to see it.
If you can see right here on this tiny screen.
You can't pour from an empty cup. Take care of yourself first.
A word.
Selfish is always frowned upon, but it's really not a bad thing. It's important to healthy selfishness.
So the question is, marriage under 26 years old. I feel like we've been answering that though, for real. Can I get another one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I disagree with it.
I'm for it.
I don't disagree.
I can get married yesterday.
Whose handwriting is
Hers.
Take the physical aspect off the table.
Oh, that's why I didn't understand.
You see the way you're blinded to the things you don't want to read. No, I'm joking.
Go and answer your own
Well,
question.
so how
Yes.
no, I'm joking. Taking the physical aspect off the table. So, I have been in relationships where me and my boyfriend have had sex. You know, I'm not a virgin. I'm not somebody who believed in waiting all the time. But now that I'm like, 2 years into my celibacy, I so much value not having physicality on the table, because it forces you to deal with other things in the relationship. It forces you to really get to know one another. Not even forces you, it enables you to get to know one another, both mind, soul,
and I have to say,
and body for later.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I have to say, Asmu is really speaking from experience in a sense. The person you are seeing today is a totally different person.
Just to practice.
From,
No, I'm joking.
I'm not saying completely totally different. She had her morals and her values in a sense, but sometimes she was not doing those things. But I have seen such a 360 in her life. She's doing such a great job to just up and leave, go to California, know what she wanted, and just speak certain things into existence without even having it yet, and it just started happening. But I want you guys to understand that no, it's not that she's just preaching to you guys. She genuinely did change her life, you know, and I do see with you changing your life how many blessings and things have come your way with that as well. So I just want that to be known. I don't want people to feel like, oh, she's just free. No, she really understands where you're coming from.
I'm not judging y'all. I'm
not
judging y'all. I'm not being judgmental. I've been there. I get it. And if you want to keep doing it, whatever, I don't care. I'm just telling you
and it's amazing
how I changed my life.
How she could have done it. You know, like even she has influenced so many people, especially me as well.
No.
You know, no, we're going to get into
on to the next question. I used to be horrible, and now I'm
you were not
but
horrible.
Thank you.
You were not horrible, but she influenced so many other people in her lives as well because of how much she has changed. Don't make me cry.
No, don't make me cry. We can talk about the next thing. This is
how much you changed her life.
It's not me. I don't want to give myself
and
any
it wasn't
of the credit,
easy.
Any of the glory.
It was not
because
easy.
All of the glory goes to God. Because if I could have did it by myself, I would have did it a long time ago.
Yeah.
I couldn't. And the only reason why I have is because I surrendered my life to Jesus, and Jesus changed my life. I didn't change my own life. And so I just want to let that be known. Like, the only thing that I did was surrender.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that I offer people on my YouTube channel is surrender. Like, you don't have to.
Because so many of her friends were still shocked, like, oh, you're not drinking? Oh, you're not doing this? Oh, you're celibate.
But it's not
2
even
3 years. It's like, what?
It's
like,
not behavior modification.
Yeah.
Because behavior modification, I can do that on my own.
Oh, yes.
You know, and do it for short bursts of time. My heart has changed. My heart for people has changed. My heart for myself has changed. And I can only give God credit for that. So there's that.
So